Bismillah walhamdulillah. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salam ala Mustafa. In this session, we want to focus on the importance of the Dars Nizami curriculum to the serious student of knowledge. Now, when we do comparative curriculum studies, what we find is that the general alim course is deficient in a few areas. And with some modification, the benefit that we can gain from that curriculum is indeed great. Firstly, the necessity of a serious study of usul al-fiqh beyond books like usul al-shashi in the alim program is very important, because usul al-shashi in some ways it's right there within the rank of al-waraqat. So that the level of usuli thinking that we encounter in a book like Usul al-Shashi is not enough to produce a student who's well grounded in usul al-fiqh. And unfortunately, in order to get that experience, a student will have to go into the iftar course, as this is the setup or organization now within the Deobandi structure. This is no critique on the system per se, but how can others benefit, others that are not from the Deobandi tradition? How can we combine curriculums and strengthen curriculums and so on and so forth? That's the reflection. That's the driving theme here, or the guiding light of the reflection. Another thing is that we don't find a basic primer on Qawaid Fiqhiyya. And in many cases we see that the study of hadith sciences is acquired more through application than it is through theory, which is not a bad thing. It means that you learn hadith sciences by studying the explanation of the hadith when you engage the hadith course, when you engage the study of the 6 books of hadith. But if we were to begin our hadith studies early on and focus on some of the more theoretical ideas, such as takhrij al-hadith, such as mustalah hadith with more depth, then nasikh mansukh, that type of concept. If we were to study these subjects earlier on, even though they may pose some difficulty to the student, along with a nice dose of usul al-fiqh at multiple levels, and a study of the maqasid of the sharia, and a study of ulum al-Quran beyond books like Fawz al-Kabir, right? Maybe study al-Ittiqan, or some book that summarizes key ideas of Ittiqan's contemporary book early on. We may find that the student that's produced at that level after the study of these subjects will be a different type of student, a student with more depth, understanding, and possessed of the intellectual know-how that will allow that student to engage in reality uh, some aspects of ijtihad, because the curriculum overall is set up or is aimed in that direction when we examine its contents in light of the conditions of ijtihad as found where in the traditional classical texts of usul al-fiqh. So we find the curriculum then that overall is meeting the conditions of ijtihad, content wise, but lacks in some regards in the matter of theory. So we don't want to throw out Dars Nizami. We want to appreciate it and learn from its scholars. But what we want to bring to it is some of the intellectual rigor that we're seeing in some of the other institutions of Islamic learning. And already we see some modification in some of the Darul Ulums in the West with the introduction of books like Bidayat al-Mujtahid. We are seeing this reality, and also with the addition of sending students to places to study the Arabic language in an environment which is Arabic speaking. These are modifications that are taking place. So then if we look at some of the ideas that have been mentioned here, the need to study the Islamic sciences that build the Muslim mind, right? It would be preferable to study a basic book in logic rather than multiple books in logic, and instead focus on usul al-fiqh. It would be preferable to eliminate some other things, some other texts, and focus on simplifying the process a little more so that we can incorporate some of these more intellectually oriented sciences like ulum al-Quran, ulum al-Hadith, usul fiqh, qawaid fiqhiyya, maqasid of the Sharia. If we can include some of that in the curriculum early on, then I think that we are on to a new type of curriculum that will produce a new type of scholar. One which is capable of meeting the demands of the age after a 6-year period. One which will be much stronger going into the iftar program. One who will be capable then of contributing in another way, rather than limit these important subjects to the iftar program. They should be opened up early on to give the student of knowledge the tools and capabilities, the capabilities of engaging some of the issues that are encountered in the time period. How do we deal with other madhab? How do we deal with various trends of thinking and so on and so forth? If we don't develop the intellect of the student early on, it becomes hard for the Maulanas graduating to be able to engage these challenges when they come into the general population of the Muslim community and have to encounter especially other forms of thought and critiques and so on and so forth. It's not enough just to arm them with rebuttals. They have to have the intellect that's capable of meeting the demands of the context in which they abide in and the needs of the Muslim community. Allahu a'lam.